Do you rely on Social Security as a primary source of income? Because nearly 90% of seniors age 65 and over who are retired do, so you're not alone. However, there is a lot of mistruths, a lot of myths out there about Social Security that need to get laid to rest, so you better understand your money. Let's dive in. So welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Wesley, and I make content around Medicare. If you're anything like me, you may not be Medicare eligible yet, but you're trying to figure this out for your parents, and it's super confusing. So whether this video pertains exactly to your situation, or maybe your parent, all are welcome. Let's dive in. So let's start with the basics. Social Security pays nearly $102 billion per month to 66 million retirees, those with disabilities, and their families. Now, nearly 87% of those surveyed said that they are strongly opposed against cutting any sort of benefit to help, reduce the federal deficit. Which leads me into our first myth. Is Social Security going broke? Well, technically, no. It will exhaust its surplus unless we do something to change that. However, it will not run out of money altogether. I look at this like a savings account. The surplus is savings. Essentially, we're going to blow through our savings by the year 2035. But because Social Security is paid every year by the working Americans who are paying into it via taxes, essentially we'll start living paycheck to paycheck, meaning we won't have a surplus anymore, but we will have Social Security funds that are being paid by the American taxpayers. And if that happens, that means the Social Security benefit would only be 80% of the scheduled benefits. So technically, are we going to run out of money? No. But are we going to run out of the surplus? Yes. Myth number 2 is the retirement age. Personally, I believe that your retirement age is whatever you want it to be. The year is 2023 and you do you. However, if you want to start receiving retirement benefits, yes, there does need to be a standard set that everyone needs to, adhere by. And as of 2023, here is the standard. It is widely known that retirement age is 65. However, that is incorrect. That has actually been incorrect for quite some time now. Let me explain. The number was 65 back in 1935 when Social Security was created. However, since 2002, that number has actually increased. That was the last year that someone turning age 65 was at full retirement age. Reason being is we are just living longer as humans. Now the full retirement age is almost 67, and in a couple years will be age 67. So for those of you born in the year 1956, your full retirement age is 66 years and 4 months. And for those of you born in 1957, it is 66 years and 6 months. Therefore, not true. Full retirement age is not 65. Myth number 3 is the cost of living adjustment. That is guaranteed to happen every year. This simply is not true. Now, in 2023, we did receive an 8.7% increase on the cost of living, meaning everyone got around 8.7% more on their Social Security check. Now, a lot of you out there are receiving this benefit and have a comment on how this is nowhere near enough money, especially when the inflation rate on food, gas, and everything is higher than 8.7%. So if you'd like to vent or leave a comment, feel free to do so. However, just know that the COLA guarantee isn't guaranteed at all. In fact, this didn't even happen in 2010, 2011, and 2016. Essentially, in those years, the formula they used to, create this adjustment, they essentially said there was no inflation. So they didn't raise anybody's income, Social Security-wise, those years. So if you're expecting every year to get an increase in Social Security because the cost of living goes up, that isn't necessarily going to happen. Myth number 4, the government uses Social Security funds for other things. Now, I'm going to be honest, after researching this one, I still don't completely understand it, but let me kind of go over what I did find. Social Security is broken into 2 separate funds. There's a fund for those who turn 65 and are retirees, and then there's also a fund for those who are on disability and receiving benefits, right? However, what the government says is that they don't borrow from those funds, but they do borrow from the Social Security fund, which is super confusing to me. There's essentially like a big account, like the Social Security account, and within that big account, there's 2 separate accounts. And it's saying it doesn't take money out of the 2 separate accounts, which goes to pay the people. So it sounds like there's money kept in the big account, and then they pay into those separate little accounts, and they don't borrow any money from those little accounts. Now, what they do is they take money out of that big account and they throw it into other programs. Essentially, they throw it into bonds. And bonds, they get a return from them. And by borrowing the money, they have to pay the Social Security program back with interest. They say, meaning the government is they say that this creates an additional like $70 billion per year in interest received for Social Security. So essentially they're taking the money, borrowing it, investing it into other things, and then they're gaining a lot of interest on that. They're winning there. They're paying back Social Security plus interest, and that means there's an additional $70 billion put into Social Security per year. Where it becomes unclear to me is if this is exactly how it works, and what the heck are we invested into? Because they say that they are allowed to invest in other programs. But what are the other programs? So this one, guys, I don't know if it's fact or it's fiction, but part of it sounds like it's definitely fact. The US government definitely borrows from Social Security. How they legally can get away with it or how they can legally say it's not Social Security funds is still beyond me, but they do borrow from those funds. Apparently they're making money on them and they're giving it back to Social Security plus interest. That's what I found out. Feel free to comment if you know better than I do, because this one was really, really hard to find out. Myth number 5, undocumented immigrants drain Social Security. Now this one is just simply false, guys. Undocumented immigrants are not able to withdraw Social Security benefits. Here's where I think it gets a little confusing. Undocumented immigrants do find ways to get so-called legal papers so they can hold jobs in America, therefore receive a paycheck. However, because they're receiving a paycheck, that means they're also paying into Social Security taxes. But because those illegal papers are kind of forged, they pass the, working in America, but doesn't necessarily pass the, I'm going to get benefits later in America. Those who are legal citizens of the United States can receive Social Security benefits as long as they meet the eligibility requirements. However, anyone that's undocumented, that's a big no-go. So the U.S. has no issue with taking tax-paying contribution by undocumented immigrant workers, which, it's turned out that it's actually adding more funds into Social Security. And if that number was $12 billion in the year 2010, I'm sure it's even higher now in the year 2023. However, it is false that undocumented immigrant workers drain Social Security because they are not collecting. Myth number 6, Social Security benefits are tax-free. They were up until 1984. But since then, yep, you are paying taxes on your Social Security benefits. The way this works is if you're a single person that makes between $25,000 and $34,000 a year in a Social Security benefit, you can be taxed up to 50% of that. If you're a couple filing jointly, the number goes up to $44,000 per year. Here's how that works. So let's say you are a single filer and you make $30,000 per year. Social Security is your only form of income. They're saying that they can take up to 50% of that, meaning $15,000, that can be taxable income. So that means you would pay the taxes on $15,000 based on your tax bracket, if you have any other sort of income or whatever. That's how I'm interpreting it. Now, if you make more than the numbers I just stated, then that can actually go up to 85%, meaning 85% of your income, including Social Security, could be taxable. However, I'm not saying they would take 85% in taxes. I'm saying 85% of your total income is eligible to be taxed. You still would pay whatever tax bracket rate you're in. In addition, there are certain states out there that also require you to pay a state tax on your Social Security benefits. States like Colorado, Kansas, Minnesota, Montana, Nebraska, New Mexico, Rhode Island, Vermont, and West Virginia are a few of these that make you pay state tax in addition to federal tax on Social Security benefits. Myth number 7, my ex-spouse is draining my benefits. This simply is not true. Yes, your ex-spouse can qualify to receive Social Security benefits. Let's say you were the breadwinner and you guys were married for more than 10 years. You get a divorce. Yes, your ex-spouse can claim, based upon your work history, a Social Security benefit. However, it doesn't affect your benefit, and it doesn't affect, if you got married again, your new partner's benefit. They are completely independent of each other. Myth. Your ex-spouse benefit does not drain your benefit. Myth number 8, you lose benefits if you continue to work. Now, Social Security does have an earnings limit or an earnings test that can temporarily reduce the amount of income and benefit received while you are working. But it doesn't apply to all working beneficiaries, and it's not permanent. Here's an example. In 2023, your benefits are reduced by $1 for every $2 you put in over income in excess of $21,140. However, when you reach full retirement age, they pay you all that money back. The earnings test goes away and there's no benefit reduction. So this one is false, but it may seem true in the moment because you're not experiencing the full amount that you would want to get. I can understand that one. And before I go, guys, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to educate yourself by watching this video. And I'm sure you're out there doing even more research to get better informed when it comes to Social Security, retirement, Medicare, and all those things that are super boring, but definitely super important. Now, if you got any value, definitely click the like button, the subscribe button, turn on channel notifications so you get notified anytime I release a new video, and also check out the links in the description. In there, you'll also see a copy or a link to a copy of my book, which you can find on Amazon, which gives you 15 actionable steps to cut your Medicare prescription Part D costs going into 2023, 2024, and 2025. So thank you once again for watching, and definitely check out the videos here and here. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.